Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an article titled, If Your Partner Says She Doesn't Want to Get Married, She's Lying. Just because she's independent doesn't mean she doesn't want that ring. And guys, this article is written by a woman, and she's saying the obvious in this article that a lot of us either know outright or strongly suspect. At the end of the day, they all want that ring. Okay? Now, I'm sure there are some people who are going to watch this and say, if it's a woman watching this, she's going to say, not me. Or maybe some guys might watch this and say, well, not my girl. No, your girl. Okay? She may not feel that way now, and I want to emphasize feel, because it's all about the feelings. But one day down the road, mark my words, it's going to happen. So I'm doing this for you relationship guys to be aware of this if you think that you got an easy pass and she's not going to be thinking about it, or at least not thinking about it one day. I mean, how many of you guys that are a little bit older, closer to my age, middle age, had girls that you dated or were your girlfriends in high school and college, and they said flat out they didn't want to get married one day, or and they certainly don't want to have kids. And then a couple decades later, you go on social media, you go on Facebook. Like, for instance, I joined Facebook late in 2013, and I did to keep in contact with people kind of all over the place. And of course, I'm curious, so I start looking up people I used to know in college and in high school. And lo and behold, I saw these old girlfriends or girlfriends I dated. Guess what? They're married, they have kids, and these were the same girls that said, no way. Maybe marriage, but I'm never going to have kids. Or I'm never going to get married. I'm going to be single my whole life. They got married and had kids. Because at the end of the day, it's the ultimate validation. Okay? It's easy for a girl who is above average, or just even average, to get plenty of dudes that she can hook up with. It's not hard. An above average girl can literally hold a sign saying free you know what and have dudes lining up down the street. But to get a guy to do the ultimate commitment, that's a different ballgame. And ultimately, they want that magical day, the ring on their finger, showing that they're a Mrs. Somebody that can get one dude to commit to them. And I don't care how strong and independent they claim to be, sooner or later. And yeah, every once in a while you can meet a gal that actually really means it. And I've found that usually they're the ones, they've already been married before. Okay, I know a woman who's a client of mine. She's been married twice, and she's never doing it again. Ever, ever, ever. Now, we shall see, but she says she's never going to do it. So that's the situation there. So I'm going to go through this, guys. It's entertaining. It's totally obvious just for you relationship guys. But also, as an added bonus, at the end of this, I'm going to read to you some of the comments she got from people all around the world. And let me tell you, she pissed a lot of people off with this article, particularly the strong followers of the movement, if you will, the strong empowered types, because they don't like it at all. And they're going to throw out words like patriarchy and oppressive institution and a bunch of BS like that. And let me tell you, if anybody wants to claim it's an oppressive institution, it should be the guys, not the other way around. But anyhow, I'm going to get into this. So starts off, she says, remember that Method Man lyric on I'll Be There For You, You're All I Need to Get By? The line where he raps, you don't need a ring to be my wife. Now think about every song lyric. I know what you're going to say. Me and my partner have been together for a year or so. She's not tripping. Everything's good. Or maybe you've been together forever, kids and all, and there are no rings or documentation to make it official and legally binding. You don't need a piece of paper to show your love for your woman or your children. Y'all are good together because you want to be. Period. And she's fine with it. No, really. She's not tripping. Her friends may talk crap, but your woman is confident. She told herself she doesn't need a ring to be your wife. Except here's the thing. She's lying to you. Exactly. Your girl wants to get married, whether she's 26 or 46. She wants to wear a white dress, walk down the aisle on her dad's arm. Whether she's not been married or she's previously divorced, she wants to jump the broom, tie the knot, and say I do. Maybe all three at the same time. She wants to be validated. Right there. What I tell you, the ultimate validation. She wants your friends and family to witness the love you share. Blech. Makes you want to barf hearing that. She wants you standing next to your boys with a tug tear in your eye. If she says she doesn't want children, it's likely she doesn't. But if she says she doesn't want you to buy her a diamond ring and put it on her finger while down on bended knee, she's lying, bro. How many of you guys have ever been at the mall or some shopping place with your girl? and you're on your way to the Apple store or something, and you happen to stroll by the jewelry store, and all of a sudden, boom, she stops. And she's looking in, and she's looking at those rings. You've all been there. And all of a sudden, this seemingly normal girlfriend of yours turns into Gollum from Lord of the Rings. I'm not kidding you. They're all a bunch of little golems inside wanting that ring. So be aware of this, guys. Unfortunately, there are some parts of the patriarchy that are still deeply ingrained in some women. You have to remember, we grew up with Disney princesses and Prince Charming and June brides and Say Yes to the Dress and 90 Day Fiancé and The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, and The Real Housewives and Single Ladies, blah, blah, blah. And everything else that makes up the wedding industry pipeline. Even Love is Blind, Netflix's most recent trending reality hit, hinges on the endgame of getting hitched. Anyway, how many shows are out there about getting married? And she makes a good point about the pipeline. They promote this. You know, the ultimate power couple, I've said this before, the ultimate power couple, if you had a couple, man and woman, and they actually had a really good thing going. The ultimate power couple is to have one who is in the wedding industry, if you will, and the other is a divorce attorney. They'd make out like bandits, and they own their own companies. You want to talk about a money-making machine. A woman who owns her own something in the wedding industry, call it a wedding planner, if you will, and her husband owns his own law firm that deals with divorce. Oh my God, the money that could be made. Anyway, yes, there are some women who truly do not care about marriage. They will partner up and shack up indefinitely with no formality. Those women are few and far between, and your woman most likely isn't one of them. So what's her problem? Why can't she just chill out and stop sending you eye daggers at every family wedding? Science time. Modern monogamy in mankind has only existed for the last millennium or so. Before that, like most primates, they were polygamous. And way before that, like 75 million years before, the earliest primates lived in solitude, only meeting up to mate. Well, that's pretty much where things are going back to, living in solitude, only meeting to hook up. So there are many studies that support the idea that we're still not necessarily meant to mate for life. Science says that if you all had your way, you'd prefer a harem. We get that. We fully understand. Your woman wants you to know that if you don't want to mate for life, you don't have to. But the half-assed commitment that comes with common law marriage, combining salaries but skipping the fish or steak dinner, and a 3-tiered cake isn't going to work. Your woman wants your last name, even if she won't use it professionally because she's been in her career with her own brand for 2 decades. Your woman wants an actual title for the kids you bring into the relationship, like, say, stepmom. Your woman wants to get her mom and her friends and the rest of society to stop asking you why you haven't asked her hand in marriage. So why is she lying to you? Simple. Blame the culture for how she really feels. Many women want to be claimed. They want to show the rest of the world that their person, that's you, has chosen her as their person with witnesses, receipts, and a big-ass party. The money that is spent on weddings is just unbelievable. Any guy out there that's a family guy, and I know I got plenty of family guys watching me, that has daughters, I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you for many reasons, but I especially feel bad for you because they're going to expect you to pay for these giant-ass, stupid-ass parties. That's what it is, with a 60% chance they're going to get divorced. I've known some people that had a little more common sense, and they were given options by their family saying, okay, we could do a giant wedding, or we can give you the same amount of money and put it towards a down payment on the house. And I've known a couple of people that were sensible, had a small, very small wedding, and used that money for a down payment on a house. But let's be honest here, most people are going to go, driven by the bride, of course, for the giant-ass stupid party. What a waste. It says here, so why is she lying to you? I read that part. She says, I'm not going to tell you that you need to marry your girlfriend, but here's a handy quiz. And she's going to go through this little quiz here. This is amusing. Number 1, have you been dating for longer than a year? 2 points. Do you live together? 5 points. Do either of you have children from previous relationship? 4 points. Do you have children together? 8 points. Is she above the age of 40? 6 points. Have you met her family? 4 points. Have you had the conversation about marriage that ended in an argument? 5 points. Has she hinted about rings, weddings, and marriage? 5 points. Let's get your score. 0 to 6 points. You know she wants to get married. Either let her move on or make it official. 6 to 10 points, time to drop down a down payment at Zales. 11 to 18 points, she probably has a wedding dress hanging in the back of the closet. 18 points or more, wow, you really believe why buy the cow when you get the milk for free? She's probably trapped now, emotionally and or financially. So you can probably get away with not marrying her. Congrats. So if any of those sound familiar to you relationship guys, guess what? Your girl wants to get married. And again, nowadays we have all these proud, strong, independent types that I don't need a man. Let's just see. Give it some time. Because a lot of those types are in their 20s. I knew a gal a few years ago who definitely was a card-carrying member of the movement. And let me tell you, she made it clear, I'm never getting married. I'm going to log into my Facebook account. I deactivated my Facebook account, but I log in once a year to just see what's up. I'm going to log in about 10 years and see what's going on with her. I'm dying to know. Goes on, these are jokes, but true words are spoken in jest. If you love your woman and want her to be happy, send her this story. Share your score and ask her thoughts. If she reads this and says it's all nonsense and she truly doesn't care, continue as you were. But if the conversation goes somewhere else, be ready to listen and begin planning like your relationship depends on it. In which case, Let's Get Married by Jagged Edge remains the perfect proposal song. The remix with Rev Run, of course. Throw that song on, remind her that you're not getting any younger, might as well do it. The end. So, she's given here the absolute truth. And like I said before, she's not saying a lot of things I normally say because I'm a lot more blunt and don't give a shit. But at the end of the day, the ultimate validation. They all want that ring on their finger. Now, again, every once in a while, there's one that doesn't want to do it, and they actually mean what they say. But again, I found they've already been divorced once or twice and don't want to go through that again. Fair enough. But nowadays, because right now being proud and independent is being promoted, you're going to hear more of that. But just wait in time. So, for you guys out there, there are relationship guys that watch me, be careful. If you don't want to get married, just be aware of this. And so if you're seeing hints being dropped and all of a sudden she comes to a screeching halt when you go past Zales or Kay's Jewelers, whatever, be aware of this. Now here's the real fun part. I'm going to read you some comments that people had, and her article here had tons of comments. And they were all pissed off gals that you can most certainly tell are part of the movement, even a couple clueless dudes. So the first one starts off, this is obviously from a gal. She says, marriage is, with giant letters, patriarchy, period. A woman with a kid who made it very clear to her partner, the kid's father, that she did not want to get married, even if he wanted to himself. So right there, calling it the patriarchy. Another girl writes, she says, this is the most sexist thing I've read in a long time. What was so sexist about this? Apparently it's a bad thing nowadays to say that a girl actually wants to get married and do that Disney shit. I don't agree with that stuff, but the point is, it's made out to be that it's a bad thing. I mean, nowadays, if a girl said when she was young, you know what, I don't want a career, I just want to be a mom and a homemaker, that's frowned upon. You know, it's unbelievable. My opinion, she wants to do that, fine. Another one says, if my partner said she didn't want to get married, listen, this is from a dude. If my partner said she didn't want to get married, I'd respect her statement. What a strange article suggesting women don't know what they want or aren't willing to tell their partner the truth. Dude, you are clueless. How many of you guys out there are well aware, especially you guys have done plenty of dating and relationships, know the gal says one thing but means another? How many times have you heard, I don't like bad boys. I want a nice guy that does this, this, and this. And yet when the gal gets the nice guy, she dumps him eventually or cheats and goes out with a guy that does the exact opposite, the bad boy types. Okay? I've told you guys a million times, never take dating advice, relationship advice, all that for women because it's not going to end well for you. But right here he's saying, well, I will respect her statement because she says something that obviously women generally are not, or feminine women are not direct and say what they want to say the way the guys are. They'll hint things or they won't actually know what they mean, but they'll say one thing and mean another. So if this guy's taking it at face value, it shows he's clueless. Another one says here, I am married and like the idea of the legal security provides for both partners. However, I do not have a diamond ring. I certainly don't want my dad walking me down the aisle and handing me to another man. And I didn't change my name. None of those things felt right to me. Your ideas feel dated and presumptuous. Marriage is a contract between equals and shouldn't reinforce old, wait for it, patriarchal views. So here we are back to this whole, let's be honest, calling in oppressive institution. And again, in my opinion, if it's oppressing anybody, it's the guys. Another one says, way to disparage the stated views of women. We have enough issues getting men to believe no means no. Do we really have to fight other women as well? Oh, for goodness sake. Another one says, as a woman who has lived common law for 40 years after saying no to the marriage proposal, I am insulted that you would think you can speak for me or others like me. What I'm really worried about is that you are teaching men not to trust what women say, which tends to lead to problems like, grape. Again, back to the whole, they say one thing but actually mean another. Come on here. Another one says, no, I'm not remotely interested in marriage. How dare you presume to speak for all women? It's interesting to me when people read articles and they get so deeply offended that they have to feel like they have to take time out of their schedule and comment and get all worked up and upset. It's amazing to me. I mean, look at the Twitter mob. Anytime anybody, a public figure, says something they don't like, the Twitter mob goes crazy about that. Get a life, people. Now, lastly, this is coming from a dude. I believe it's a dude, and hits the nail on the head. He says, there's a lot of truth in this article. I've been around successful, well-educated women who tout their independence and success and yet dread coming home to an empty apartment with no companionship. Ding, ding, ding. I'm tired of all the women empowerment rhetoric. The reality is they dream of a perfect partner to share their life and child rearing with. They project images of being strong and independent, and yet they suffer in silence, yearning for that one compatible mate to share in their daily struggles in life with, and they dread above all else the thought of being elderly, alone, miserable, childless spinsters who seem to have it all on the outside, but inside a vacuum of aloneness that no amount of money and material success can fulfill. Hit the nail right on the head right there. Guys, I know some women that are in their 40s and are really unhappy because they're alone and no family, no kids and all that. And at the end of the day, whose fault was it? Their fault. You know why? Because both these two I'm thinking of right now, and I've mentioned these two gals I know, for their 40s. They're really good looking for their 40s. And they do well for themselves, successful, got money, got all that stuff on the outside, but they're crying and they don't have the family and the kids and all that stuff. And these gals, when they were younger, they were hot. They were 9s in their 20s. They were 8s in their 30s. But they had a never-ending supply of dudes. It was always like, next, next. They felt so that they deserved the most stereotypical 6 feet tall, 6-figure income, 6-pack, all the works. And it was like, next, next, next. Well, next, they're a lot older. And now the only guys that go for them are guys that are obviously, that would be actually in a relationship, are dudes that are in their 50s and 60s, and these gals don't want guys in their 50s and 60s. They want accomplished gentlemen in their 40s that want to get married, have kids. And the guys that are single nowadays, that are in that age range they want, they've already been married, had kids, they don't want to do it again, or they haven't been married yet. And if they're going to do it, they're not going to go for gals in their 40s. They're going to go for younger gals in their 20s or 30s because they can get them. You see what I'm going here? So this is the problem when so many push it off, either thinking they can get better or they're pulling this whole empowerment crap, which is being shoved down these young girls' throats from pretty much elementary school nowadays. They don't end up very happy. So this woman here in this article hit the nail on the head. And to no surprise, she obviously got a lot of anger coming from people, the strong independent types, but those strong independent types, we'll see how you feel later on down the road. Because ultimately, from my experience, eventually they do want to get hitched. Thought it'd be a good one to cover, particularly for you relationship guys. So just remember, you may think your girl's cool, doesn't want that ring. Well, the odds are it's going on in the back of her head. And if it hasn't yet, the closer she gets to the big 3-0, or maybe some cases the big 4-0, something's going to change. Just be aware of that. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know, guys, and be honest here. If you're a relationship guy or you were in the past, have you had experience like this where your girl, oh, no, I don't want to get married, and then just something happened, who knows, in her life or family, and boom, all of a sudden, total 180, and it was marry me or we're done. I'd like to hear about it in the comment section. Your input, your stories will help others be aware of what's going on. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.